Hey everyone, and welcome to this quick video where I want to share a case study with Jared Ryan, who is one of the customers who recently purchased my Personal Productivity Toolkit. Jared, thank you for joining me on the call today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so what I wanted to do in this video is just talk a little bit about Ryan's situation, kind of where he was before signing up to the program from a productivity standpoint. And then, yeah, Jared, I'd love to get some of your thoughts on kind of the key takeaways and things. So for anyone watching this, interested in purchasing the program, like just what can they expect? So maybe to kick us off, do you want to just give us a little bit of an introduction to, what do you do and where were you before signing up to the program from a productivity standpoint? Like what did your kind of productivity workflow look like before you signed up?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I've been employed with a company for about 17 years now. It's a construction company. It's a national construction company here in the United States. So I've been able to travel a lot with them. But right now, I live in Metro Detroit. I'm able to work with a network of contractors that do our construction projects and work mostly from home. So that's what I've been mainly doing for the past 16, 17 years. And right now, aside from that, I would say my other passion company that I'm starting to work with is more of a local company here that does a lot of local real estate development here in the Metro Detroit area, buying properties, fixing some of them up, retailing some of them, or renting them out. So just a lot of moving parts and everything.
Lots of projects on the go.
Yeah, for sure. So it's just kind of like there's more, and I just feel for me, productivity has always been interested, but I always felt like for every 5 things I got done on my to-do list, I'd always find a way to add 7 or 8. So it got bigger as opposed to smaller. And I would say looking back, I work a lot, but I always feel like I'm at like 70 to 80% optimization for a lot of things that I do, whether that it used to be for sleep, for my career, just me being present with my, because I have two kids now with my wife, so being present and in the moment with my kids. And it got me by to a certain point, but it was always just a situation where, hey, if I want to, do something that was going to really amp it up and everything too.
Right. So that's interesting.
By it, but yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting because correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm hearing is you sound like you were probably already above average then in terms of your productivity. You said you're about 70, 80%. And so why did you join the program? I mean, it sounds like partly to just get to that next level.
Kind of, it was almost kind of by accident. I was actually interested in Pipedrive because we were getting my company acclimated, and I ran across some of your videos on YouTube. Yeah. And I'm in about an hour, I was like, wow, this is really, really good stuff. And then, on the YouTube, there's a little subscribe here. I'm like, let me just subscribe here. And then I saw a video series on Asana. I'm like, well, what is this Asana thing? So I looked at Asana, and 2 hours later on YouTube, I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Because I've used Evernote for many years. And I was the common, you used this in one of your examples about trying to use Evernote to kind of fit everything. Yeah. But like I said, it was about 70 to 80% good for everything. So back in the day, I would have been like, yeah, I'm the productivity master. And just look at all this great, I'm humble, but I would have felt that way inside. But it's just when I realized that, hey, the philosophy about, use the right tools for the right thing, and it's actually less work. Because with the Evernote, it got to the point where it was distracting from my productivity because it was like taking more time updating my Evernote because it wasn't perfectly optimized than actually getting the work done. And it got to the point where like slowly but surely I was kind of weaning myself off that and just kind of, if I want to get more done, I guess I have to work 12 hours instead of 10. And then it got to a point where I have kids and I can't go to 14. So I was like, something's got to change in that stuff. So it's like, what's that word? Serendipity, when you're looking for something else and you run across it. So I looked at it, and then that's kind of what got me intrigued by it. And I'm just like, well, I can talk about it, or I can make a small investment and go for it. And, I'm definitely glad I did. So.
Okay. That's cool. So to give people some context, so Jared purchased the program, would have been, a couple of months ago?
I think like the end of November, early December, like somewhere, end of November. It was right after,
in 2018.
2018.
Yeah. So, and that was part of one of my bonus launches. I actually only met Jared last week. We had a call, as part of my bonus launch, it came with a complimentary call. So we actually only met last week. And I have to say, like, the thing that impressed me most when we got on the call and you shared your screen, you showed me what you were doing, it was just how much you'd applied, and I don't know how much of it you were doing already or how much you changed as a result of the program, but you seemed to be following the advice really well, like using your inbox really well, like archiving your email, keeping everything really tidy and organized. Usually when I see someone's inbox, it's like full of unread messages. Really crazy. Yours was really tidy and organized. Your task list and the My Tasks were really tidy and organized. Again, usually when I look at someone's tasks, it's a real mess. And your calendar as well. You use the time blocking. So I was just super impressed that you clearly looked at the program and had put into action a lot of what I talked about. Again, I don't know how much of that you were already doing, but I was just really impressed with the progress you'd made.
Yeah, no, and it's just, for me, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So it works for a reason. So yeah, some of it I was doing, but it never really, the inboxing was going this way, the Evernote was going this way, my calendar was going that way. They weren't in sync. So it's just kind of nice that they're all pointed in the right direction now, and it creates less anxiety to organize and more, which is good.
Yeah. But for anyone interested in the program and signing up, could you maybe share some of the key takeaways that you got? What were some of the main lessons or outcomes that you were able to achieve after going through those videos and things?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing for me is just how one part of like the email feeds into the organization system, which feeds into your calendar, and they all kind of sync. So where at the end, you're making more strategic decisions at the beginning of the day, and you're blocking time for yourself. So what I did for me is I think there's like 4 different components. There's the email, there's the task management, which, Asana, there is the calendar, and then there's some type of digital brain, whether that be, Evernote or Dropbox, whatever you want to use. I just said, hey, if I try to do all 4 of those in 1 week, it's going to like blow my mind up. So let me just pick 1 a week. So that was my goal. So week 1, I wanted to just implement 100% of the email. So I did that. I kind of went through that, got back to where, instead of having like 10,000 different emails and all that stuff, like, and using that to like manage my tasks and looking back and everything, I got that under control. Then the next step was going into Asana and everything.
Yeah.
So breaking it down.
And how long did it take you from purchasing to going through some of the content? Like, I try to keep the videos very sort of concise and get to the point and help you making progress as quick as I can. There's obviously version 1 of the toolkit you can get as well, which has all the older videos and things that I put together. But like, how much time went by from purchasing, going through some of the lessons, to then implementing some of this? I just want to get a sense of how much of a commitment did you need to make?
Yeah, for me personally, like there's about 4 different sections, and I budgeted about 1 week a section. I got through about 2 a week instead. So I planned for it to take a whole month to really optimize it, but it ended up taking me 2 weeks to do that.
Right.
So, which was good. Also it's kind of around the holidays. So like my other work was a little, and strategically it worked out perfectly for me as well. But yeah, that's kind of what I did, is I just blotted aside time, and it was kind of, maybe an hour or 2 hours of looking at the content, but then like the next few days, okay, here's the email theory and the concept. Okay. And the next one is, okay, let me go out there and implement it too. So then I blocked out time to say, okay, well, let me optimize my email. Let me, go to canned responses. Let me change this, or same thing. Asana took a while because that was completely a little bit foreign, but like I said, but the key, and I think you said that in one of your videos, is just do it. I think Asana itself has like a free trial, which is great. And I think there's a free version, which probably would have been good enough. I find that if I invest a little bit of money in something, I'm more committed to doing it. So I'm like, let me just do it, because I know then I'll have to do it and not kick it down the road. But that was really good for me too. And then just my first week of Asana was probably very juvenile, but it was definitely a step in the right direction. But then every week I started to add a little bit more, and I just kind of made it my own, and just, natural and everything too. So I was planning for about 1 week per, but it ended up being a lot less, just because it was really fun. And like I said, I think I was just getting more efficient too as time went on. So
Great. That's good to hear. It's good validation for me, because my intention building the videos and putting everything together was like, I get a little bit turned off sometimes looking at some online courses and digital products that say they've got 20 hours of content. It seems it's just a lot. I feel like it's a lot. And I wanted to put something together where it's like you can actually go through it pretty quickly and start to actually take action, make change like nice and quickly. So it's good to hear you kind of confirming that, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now that we're a few months later, sorry if this is a bit of an airy-fairy question, but like, how do you kind of like feel now that you've sort of got the systems in place, like on a daily basis? Like, how have things changed? How do you feel on a daily basis now?
Well, like I said, I think what they say, you always underestimate what you can do in a year, but you overestimate what you can do in a day or something, is what that's saying. And I'm not overestimating my day anymore. So I really, I've always been a yes man. When it comes to work, I have a lot of reports and everything. So I find myself right now not overcommitting to a lot of meetings and everything. I think that's really good. And because I can spend a lot of time on my other stuff, the biggest things that's really helped is like doing that daily review at the end of the day when I wrap up. And then I could say, okay, well, what do I want to do the next day? Let me put it in the calendar. If I'm overcommitting, I'm realizing that at 6:30 p.m. the day before, not like at 7 a.m. be like, holy crap, I can't do this. Who am I going to disappoint? And I'm just, it's moving that around. I mean, that's been really good. And then when I literally turn off my brain at 7 or 7:30 in the evening, like I could be totally present, put my kids to bed, totally present for everything I do. So, I mean, that's been really helpful to do. And I've noticed I've noticed other people that I work with, they're like, man, you've been really like extra on top of it the past couple of months. I don't know what's changed. And like I said, I'm just like great, but I've heard that the past couple of months or couple of weeks and everything too. I think that's been really, really good. And like I said, that's where that's one of the things that I'm, you don't realize that on a short-term basis, but over time that makes a big difference. So
that's really cool. That's awesome. And it's something that really stood out for me is like saying you can be more present, like at the end of the day with your family, because that's why we do it, right? Like, being productive is nice and having a system that works is great, but really it's for the end goal of like, not just our mindset, but having more time for the stuff that really matters. So that's good. Great to hear.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, for me, it's like, I've always said that I call them the 4 F's. It's, family, fitness, finance, and fun. And I've always tried to balance all, but the past couple of years, there's been like the new kids coming and like a lot of work and growth and expansion. I felt like I was kind of living a life of not super integrity. Like I say that, but it's kind of pomp and circumstance, but I wasn't really living that in my daily life. But I finally feel like I have more of the tools to do that. And there might be periods where I choose to be imbalanced, but it's going to be my choice now as opposed to kind of it be dictated for me, which I think
that's awesome. I love the 4 F's. I've never heard that before. But I'm going to have to borrow that, I think.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'm sure I stole it from someone before, so it's okay.
Awesome. Now, Jared, thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for just sharing your experience. It's just great to hear like how things have, how you've been able to implement the advice from the program. So, any final thoughts or words of wisdom to share?
No, I mean, I just think this is like, for me personally, I'm really glad I found it. And it's something like, part of me is like, man, I'm kind of kicking myself. Why didn't I just do this a couple of years ago? But like, it is what it is. It's, the best time to have done it would have been then, but the second best time is now. So you just gotta, like I said, you just gotta do it. And like, even if I would have done this in the summer, which I would have been more busy, maybe it would have taken me 2 or 3 months to implement everything versus like 2 weeks over a holiday. Still, it would have been totally worth it, just chipping away. Yeah. So I'm glad I made the financial and time commitment that was, definitely got the return on that immediately. And it's just I was glad to find something. I didn't know that there was like simple direction like that. Now that's what I appreciate, was just the simplicity of it and the practicality of it, as opposed to just like a rah, you can do it, go out there and make it. Which is good, but doesn't really help.
Yeah. So. Awesome. Well, thanks again. One more time, thank you for your time today and for sharing your feedback.